Ramon, good to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Man, good to see you. I'm so excited to be here. So excited to talk to you. Yeah, just so excited.
Man, it's so crazy. And congratulations on this film. And you are so good in this. I mean, this film is out of control. Like, there's not much more to say.
Yeah, it's out of control. It's one of my favorite projects I've ever done, and I'm so excited people finally get to see it.
How much do you know, like, audition process wise for this? Because sometimes they tell you a lot, sometimes they don't tell you anything. Like, what was that like for you?
So the whole audition process, what's funny is I auditioned for Conor first, which my guy Raphael, he plays Conor.
Mhm.
And then months went by, I didn't hear anything, I forgot about it, I was just living my life. And then I auditioned for Eddie once the email came through, and that's when the ball really started rolling, and I started going into a lot of Zoom meetings and going to a lot of producer sessions. And that's where me and Rafa sort of came together because we were both on Disney at one point in time. And then we
Yes.
saw each other again, and we were like, oh my gosh, when we were in the whole testing phase. And from there, we booked it, and now we're here.
Now you're here, and both of you
Yeah.
are so good in this. And it's funny because, and I'm wondering if you like notice this from kind of like a acting storyteller perspective, because it's like for a lot of people that watch kind of the trailers and everything, and by the time this interview is out, it's out on Netflix. We're obviously gonna get into big spoilers, but like,
Yeah, yeah,
no, but it's interesting, right? Because there's the school scenes, right, and then there's the party, right?
yeah,
But you and Raphael have the Uber scenes, right? So you have your own little
yeah.
chapter. Do you think about that at all, like when you're making it? Because that's interesting, right?
I do. I think it's such a beautifully written contrast in the movie. I think to have two stories kind of going on simultaneously really provides, or I would say just really keeps the audience attention, because it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on at the party? And then we get into the Uber and it's like, oh wow, that's what's going on there. And then we're like, we want to see the party again. And then we want to see the Uber
It's like
again.
going back. It's like we gotta get you
Yeah.
and Raphael gotta get your own spin-off, man. Like,
Yeah. That would be amazing.
what were those? Because both of you are so good at this, right? Eddie and Connor, like, all amazing. What
Yeah.
are those conversations like with him before some of those big scenes, like in the Uber? Like, is there a game plan? Are you just going in? Like, I'm curious about that.
Um, I think for this project in particular, I think it would have. Of course, we always have a plan, and we always structure out, where we want the scene to go. But as far as just like what we want to do and what we're exactly going to say, and especially our directors, John and Dave, they gave us a lot of leeway, to do our own thing and put our own creative spin and comedic spin to it. So we're just like, let's do it. Like whatever happens, happens. Let's have fun. Let's see where the funny is at. And working with Rafa, it was so amazing. He's brilliant. And just finding the funny with him was one of my favorite parts of filming the whole film.
So good.
Yeah.
And, all right, now we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
And
Let's
we're
talk
gonna
about
spoiler alert for everyone watching. When this
Yeah.
interview is out, there's gonna be spoilers. I mean, you know, there's some crazy things that happen during that trek, right? Like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets real messy. It gets
So
real.
what is that like reading that and then actually going and filming it? Like reading about the poop, reading about,
Um,
reading about the Taco Bell. Like what is
yeah.
that like the script, the screen journey for you?
Well, when you're reading the script for the first time, you don't really know where it's going. So you're in it. You're like, okay, we're eating Taco Bell. What are we building up to? Because there always has to be a climax. So I'm like, what are me and Rafa's climax in this story? And then we get to the whole scene where she poops in the car. And I'm like, this is fantastic. I love screaming. I love acting crazy in my work. And the fact that I was able to do that, and it's justified as well, because it's like, she just like, she shit in the whole back seat, you know? So the fact that I'm able to do that, and I was able to do that with Rafa, and just seeing like his reaction and my reaction, it was so fun. It was so fun. And Loren, she's fantastic as well.
So good. And it's
Yeah,
even funny too, because both you and Raphael are so good at this. Because I spoke to
yeah,
him about the film as well. And I'm going to tell you this. You both, I don't know if you know what I mean by this, but it's just, you both said a lot without saying anything. Like the facial expression.
yeah. It's a lot of face. It's a lot of face.
Like when she's starting to do like the TikTok and she asks you like Eddie to record it. That's like the best thing. Like, what is going on? You know what I mean?
What's happening?
You're not saying anything, but we can see. So much happens before you go to camera on a film like this, right? You know, you're discussing everything, you're talking to the directors, preparation. So from an acting storyteller perspective, Ramon, you can look at it as two journeys, right? Before filming Incoming and after filming Incoming, or do you see it as one big journey with multiple steps? I'm curious about that.
I think in terms of like filming Incoming, it was all continuous for us because we filmed it in a 5-week span. And we filmed it in Los Angeles, of course. And I remember the first time we all came together and we all read the script. And it was just us just figuring out like how we wanted to play it, us collaborating with John and Dave and seeing what their vision was and how we could execute their vision to the best of our ability. And then from there, I think we might have had like a week before we started shooting, and we were off to the races. So it was kind of all like just continuous, like let's read the script and let's figure it out as we go.
Absolutely. And you know, what was it like filming those school scenes? Because everyone talks about the party, and obviously Raphael and you and Raphael, like you guys are not at the party most of the time, but but the school, right? Like I love that because the school is kind of like the calm before the storm, right? Like you're talking about the party, discussing. What was it like filming those with like Mason and Bardia and Raphael?
Oh, Bardia, that's my guy. Mason, that's my guy. The school scenes were actually some of the first scenes we shot. So the first day we were all on set was a school scene, and just being able to start it off with them was so fun. It was so cool. I hate that we couldn't, like me and Raphael couldn't be with Bardia and Mason like in the film, and a lot of our scenes weren't together. But when we were able to be together and joke and just have fun, it was a great time. Honestly.
I remember I remember watching the movie, and it's just kind of like it felt like a roller coaster you couldn't escape watching it. Did it feel like that making it at times?
I didn't want to leave. Like I didn't, if a movie could like never end and if I could film it forever, it would be this movie. Like I always, because number one, my background is like comedy. I love laughing in real life and in my work and making people laugh. So it was really just a playground for me. And especially me.
Dream project, basically.
Literally. And especially me getting older. And now I just turned 19 a week ago, I think. August 3rd.
Happy belated.
Yeah, thank you so much. And especially me getting older, it was just me figuring out who I was going to be as an actor. Like I can't act the same as I once did as a kid. You know, there had to be a metamorphosis, if you will, that had to take place.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting because you talk about, it's a good segue to my next question, because you talk about comedy and you love comedy. And I feel like different actors have different ways of researching or preparing. But, you know, Incoming, you know, teen, you know, comedy, this big like house party and everything, you know, there's a lot of films that can be kind of, you know, compared to if you would do a marathon, right? You'd have Incoming, and then there's some amazing films like Superbad and like the American Pie films. And of course, also you have the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that kind of tone, right? Because it's the directors. Do you do research a little bit, like going back to some of those titles, or did you kind of leave them alone and like just focus on Incoming?
Well, I knew what the comps were, so like what people would compare it to, such as, you know, the Superbads and everything. But I also wanted it to give. I wanted to give this project its own voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the character its own voice. So as far as just like preparation, I've seen those movies before. I've watched them, but I was just like, let's see what it is. Like when I read the script, I understood it immediately. I knew what we were shooting for, and I just wanted to see what I could do with it outside of trying to. But I feel like when you study things subconsciously, you try to emulate those things. And I wanted it to be something just totally fresh, totally new, which is how I came into it.
It's like, you know, the questions I'm going to ask because they're perfect segues for the next question. No, because it's like, I want to know like how separate are past projects for you compared to new projects? Like, do you bring things from Disney mindset preparation wise to something like Incoming, or are they completely separate once you wrap them?
Well, I think when it comes down to the bare bones of just like acting and preparing a character, that's stuff that I learned from being on The Lion King and being on Just Roll With It and everything, and just figuring out how to break down a script and how to allow a character to flourish and build with that character and grow with them. But no, I learned, but I didn't take anything. I couldn't take anything from Disney into this, honestly.
No.
Because this is totally different, way raunchier than Disney would ever allow, ever. So it was my playground. It was something new because I felt like I was always in those, not kid roles, but always in those roles that appealed to everyone, you know. With this, I was able to curse. Like that was always my dream when I was doing, Disney and all of my other projects. I was just like, I want to curse in something. And when I finally was able to read this script and this opportunity came to me, I was like, this is it.
Streaming worldwide on Netflix. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like worldwide on Netflix?
Yeah, I actually, that's insane. Number one.
There's not much more to say about that, right?
It's not much more to say. It's such a blessing, beyond my wildest dreams. And I just got back from New York actually because I flew to go see the billboard in Times Square just to experience that moment. Because quite frankly, I'm living dreams that people die with. Yep. And to take it for granted would be so selfish of me. So I went and I saw it and I experienced it with some of the people that I love and some of my closest friends. And it was just such a just very surreal moment. I could have never imagined that I would be here at such a young age,
Absolutely. That's so well said, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. It was really great chatting with you.
Yes, thank you. You're fantastic, man. I hope we get to talk again soon.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Yeah, so stream worldwide. And you have an Instagram account. People keep up to date with everything, right?
Is yes, your absolutely. Name? Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at IamRamon.Reed. TikTok is just my name, and YouTube is just my name.
Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Turner, youtube.com/PopTurner for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Ramon Reed and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popturnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popturnative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.